Welcome back to my channel, JSick Poker. JSick here out with another video, and this should be my 9th vlog. And today I'm playing at Commerce Casino, 510 no limit. We're buying it for 1,500, baby. So hopefully we can book a winning session, because last week I'm down about 3 to 4K. Haven't been able to string a couple of winning sessions together, but I've been in the lab studying a lot, watching a ton of videos, and I feel pretty confident and excited to get back. And yesterday I did take a day off because I was sort of burnt out. I just didn't feel like playing, wasn't happy to play, and ended up losing and kind of punting off. So I'll go over that hand with you guys later. But enough about me, let's get to the hands. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get crushing, baby. Alright guys, so in this first hand, we look down at one of my favorite hands. It's the Ace-8 of spades.
Okay, let's go.
And we get 2 early position limpers, so we bump it up to $50. And the small blind and both of the limpers call. So it's 4 ways to a flop, and there's 2-10 in the middle, and it comes King 3-4 rainbow with 1 spade. It gets checked around to us, and with just a backdoor nut flush draw and ace high, we check it back. The turn gives us some hope to take down the pot because it's the 10 of spades. So we now have a backdoor nut flush draw with 1 over, and after it gets checked to us again, I bet 125, as I could have a checked backed king like King 10 suited, potentially pocket 10s, plus we have a nut flush draw with an over. So definitely enough equity to bet after it gets checked to us. The small blind calls and everyone else folds. The river is the ace of hearts, so we make top pair, and after the small blind quickly checks to us, we go for a value bet of $200 to hopefully get called by a non-believing 10 or a king, and lucky for us, he pays us off and we're good. So we take down a nice $860 pot to start the session. Let's go, boys. Now in this next hand, we look down at 7-8 of hearts from the cutoff, and we're now playing 5-10-20, so I decided to make it $60 to go, and everyone folds except the $20 straddle. Now I know this player, he's one of the biggest fish at the table, so I'm hoping to get a good flop versus him and his money. It's 7-8-4 with 2 spades, so we end up flopping top 2 pair, but there's a lot of draws out there. He checks, and this is a good texture to overbet for value versus fishy players because there's so many draws they can have that they're going to call with. So I decide to overbet to 175. He thinks about it for a little while and decides to go all in for around $800. I snap call because if he has 5-6, he just has us. But there's so many other hands that we do beat, like potentially lower 2 pair, 4-7, 4-8. He could have pocket 9s, pocket 10s that he slow played before the flop, and he could have a lot of combo draws. So we immediately run it. He starts yelling for a 5, so I definitely know he has a draw at this point, and I start yelling at him, no 5, no 5, but the turn comes a deuce of spades, so I'm already thinking I lost this pot, and my luck has now run out, and the river comes a king of clubs. I'm waiting for him to flip over his combo draw with spades, but lucky for us, he flips over 7-8 offsuit, so we end up chopping the pot with the same hand. Wow, I just can't catch a break versus these fish this month. And afterwards, he jokingly tells me not to play trash hands like that. Next time, I'm just hoping we flop a straight with the redraw versus him, and we end up stacking him. Come on, poker gods, just one time, please. So I'm in the $20 straddle, and we look down at ace-king offsuit. 3 players limp in, so there's $80 in the pot, and the flop comes ace-6-2 rainbow. I lead out for $20, and a very loose, aggressive player raises to $50. It gets folded to me, and I've yet to see him actually raise anyone. Plus, even if I have him beat, I don't want to scare him away from his bluffs. So I decide to just make the call and to trap him. The turn is another ace, so we make trips and we check again. He instantly bets $100. Now there's still no reason to raise here, so I decide to make the call. The river comes a offsuit 5. We check again, and he immediately bets $200. At this point, I'm pretty confident he has an ace as well. Our hand is extremely under-repped, and now I'm thinking whether we should raise or to just call. Our hand is very under-repped, plus our opponent is a massive calling station, so one side of me is thinking we should overbet jam all in for $1,500, as any trips will most likely call us. Or, on the other hand, I'm also kind of scared that he might have a full house, because I don't know what his re-raising range is on the flop. And as I was contemplating this somewhat difficult decision, food service comes up behind me and asks if I ordered food, which completely distracted me from the hand. So I actually ended up making a really big mistake here, and I ended up just calling. In hindsight, I wish I would have went all in, because I've been doing a little work using combinatorics, where you could count how many combos of hands beat you versus how many combos of hands you beat. And there's 40 combos of ace-x hands I beat if ace-8 is the bottom of his flop raising range, and 18 combos of boats that beat me. So knowing that now, I would have definitely gone all in. And after making the call, he does indeed show ace-9 offsuit. Knowing this player, we would have most likely gotten paid off. But oh well, on to the next one. This time we look down at pocket fours from middle position, and in a soft lineup where nobody's 3-betting, this is an open all day. So I do open to $70, and that same fish calls me from the cutoff, and the small blind calls too. So it's 3 ways to a flop, and we bink because the flop comes 8-6-4 rainbow. We hit our money card, so now it's time to get some value. We bet half pot to 125, and the fish raises us to 250. It gets folded to me, and we can either call or raise. In the moment, it was obvious to me that he did hit a piece of this flop, like top pair with a gutter, or any pair with a gut shot. So I actually ended up doing something very unconventional, and I ended up re-raising to $600, thinking he was just going to call any of his hands off. He ends up taking and eventually folds ace-8 face up, and I am devastated here because we pretty much had him drawing dead. But here I made another mistake, because even if he has a gut shot, there's only 8 cards in the deck that could potentially kill my action or have us beat by the turn, compared to so many of his hands that are potentially drawing dead. So I definitely should have just called here and let him hang himself. But honestly, I'm still pretty rusty in No Limit because I've been mainly playing PLO for the last 10 years, but I'm confident I'll get better from every session moving forward. So now we're in the $20 straddle again, and we look down at ace queen of diamonds. Another premium hand from the straddle. Now it's getting interesting. We get 3 limpers, so there's 95 in the pot, and the flop comes ace-8-2 offsuit. I bet a quarter pot again. The same fish calls and the small blind calls. So there's 170 in the middle, and the turn is a offsuit jack. This is where things get really interesting, because I bet $50 hoping to get called by really weak hands again, knowing that everyone limped in, but this time that fish re-raises to 175.
Wait a minute.
Now the flop raises I wasn't so afraid of, because I know he can have weaker hands like before, but every single time I've seen him re-raise the turn, which is actually about 3 to 4 times, he literally had 2 pair every single time. So I am definitely not loving this spot, but I make the call knowing that I have such a strong ace, hoping he slows down, which was a pretty dumb of me because I know he's not going to slow down. And after the river breaks off with the 6, he snap bets 220. And after thinking about it and realizing that he always had it when he re-raised the turn, I decided to make the crying fold. I really hated how I played this session and how things went overall, but hopefully things can go better. Hoping to redeem myself, I opened to $60 from the cutoff with King Jack of Hearts. The same fish and the fish in the straddle both make the call, and the flop got me really excited because it was ace-7-8 with 2 hearts.
So excited!
We flop the nut flush draw. It gets checked to me, so I bet 125. The straddle snap calls, so I'm putting him on a weak ace, and the turn is a queen of spades. So now we have the nut flush draw plus a gut shot. He checks once again to me, and I decide to overbet to $600 into a $445 pot, because we have all the best ace-x combos in our hand, with all the 2 pairs plus sets, and he would have re-raised us on the flop with 2 pair. So this is a great time to put maximum pressure on one pair hands like Ace X on our opponent. And if he does go all in, if he happens to have Ace Queen, we can just fold because we wouldn't get the proper odds to call off another $900. He ends up showing an ace and says it's too much, which was exactly what we wanted, and he ends up throwing away his hand. And this spot that we've been working on finally pays off. We end up bluffing our way to win a decent sized $445 pot. Now in the last hand of the night, we look down at kings, and being on the button, we make it $50. The fish in the small blind calls, and the straddler, who's a tight player, calls too. Now this one's a doozy, boys, so get ready.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
There's 165 in the middle, and the flop is a great one. It's 10-7-2 rainbow. It gets checked to us, and I end up betting half pot to $80. Looking back, I'm definitely going to bet way bigger with such a fish in the pot, but he ends up calling, and the straddler calls too. I'm hoping to get a decent turn to finally stack this guy, and it comes the jack of clubs. So it's a decent one, and he ends up leading $200 into a pot of 405. Now every time he's led, he's bluffed. So I'm very confident we have the best of it here, but there's no reason to raise, we just call. The river is a queen of clubs, so it doesn't change much, and he ends up checking. Now I decide it's time to go big since he's been stationing off like crazy the last couple of orbits. So I bet $600. He snap calls and we confidently table our pocket kings, and he shows 8-9 offsuit for a straight? What is going on? He played it so bad because we never have ace king and rarely king 9 here for a higher straight. We end up losing a $2,005 pot to end the night. And after being up early and being in one of the best no-limit games I've played in, we're now down $600. And worst of all, two of the biggest fish end up winning huge for around $3K each and ended up hit and running. What a terrible session. What's up, guys? So that was a pretty bad session. Unfortunately, things did not go our way. I did not play my A game. I made a couple of mistakes, but at the same time, we ended up running pretty bad. That last king's hand, that was kind of like a face palm. What the hell? What the fuck just happened? How did I just lose that hand? But hey, that's just short-term variance for you. Hopefully things will turn out, better in the next time. All right, so we ended up losing $600. We ended up playing okay, and the good news is we ended up implementing some of the overbets that we've been studying, like the King Jack of Hearts hand, but I could definitely, do better, especially versus fish like that. Now, I've been on a pretty bad downswing. I'm down about 7K. I think I've lost every live session this month so far, so I really haven't put in a ton of hours, but I'm definitely gonna go back and play again tomorrow, either PLO or No Limit. Honestly, No Limit is just really boring for me. Even though it's good money, it's easy, it's just really boring. PLO is higher variance, but it's much easier to play because people are just way worse. So I think I will play PLO tomorrow, and I'll be giving it 2 binds of $500 just to be safe. But I do hope you guys like this in video. Hope you guys learned off the mistakes that I made, and hopefully we can do better next time. All right, so take care, guys. Have a good one.